Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Howdy, and welcome to the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship here at Spa. I am Austin Knight. I'm joined by Tim Cox and John Robertson, not Alex, in the production booth, and you're here live watching Apex Racing TV. Tim, it's Spa. How you feeling?
Well, since it's old, the previous incarnation, which disappeared all the way back in 1978. It used to be fast, furious, dangerous, and all too sadly, sometimes even fatal. However, due to the beauty and the magic of sim racing, we don't have to worry about any of that, and the circuits remain largely unchanged since it came along, and this version came along in the 1979. It was, in fact. Of course, we've had the addition of it was the bus stop chicane. It's now just the chicane officially, although it still has its name despite being less like a bus stop now. But this is going to be all about the slipstream and the tactical use of your DRS. It's what X you can get out of the source, and then the drag all the way through Eau Rouge Radion, across the top of the hill, down the Kemmel Straight to the big braking area that is Lacombe and Malmedy. And then once the drivers get out of Stabilo, it's then the long run down to the bus stop, through Blanchimont. More high-octane, fast and furious action. And hopefully, no incidents.
Yeah, Spa's been, you know, here on iRacing, Spa's got a positive and a negative type of reputation. Positive is it's Spa, and everybody wants to do good at Spa. Negative, everybody wants to do good at Spa, and we sometimes have incidents of drivers being very over-aggressive on lap 1 heading into Lacombe after Eau Rouge Radion. It's just the massive run up there. Everyone's carrying a head full of steam. The drafting heading into there. It's kind of famous. Whenever a series goes to Spa, there's a 50% chance that you're going to be making somebody's iRacing clip fails of the week. The famous Spa crash where whenever the GT3 series comes here, it's always filled with that, of cars, at least 10 of them flying through the air and just causing an absolute roadblock. Though the last time I've seen that happen in the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship, it was done on Apex Racing TV. But the last Apex Racing TV broadcast where that has happened was, I think, 4 seasons ago. So everybody here has been keeping it pretty clean. Unless you're watching Josh Stewart stream last night.
Well, yes, you were telling us about that earlier, and
he's gonna hate me for saying that. Sorry, buddy. Should have streamed it.
Yeah, surely. Well, as a member of the Downforce Racing team, I'm sure you'll have them all come after you for that one. It's going to be interesting to see how the drivers get through the source. Turn 1 can sometimes either be, well, you get through there fine, or it can be, I know you love good pun, Austin, the source of all problems for you. See what I did there?
We just started.
I know, and I'm already
qualifying's not even over.
We've got 4 seconds left, you know. You've got to get in there early with these things. But interesting as well, Samborski not on pole for the second week running.
Yeah, it was just ninth right there. Carlos DeChero is your pole sitter by 41/100ths of a second ahead of Eddie Samborski. Then it's Josh Stewart, Ludwig Thrancon, Rob Bohr, Jason Seek, Dennis Furkheim, Ben Holko, Dennis Cornu, Mehmet Taski, Luis Archer, Yaya Ennis Andkin, Marco Salacron, Dylan Freckleton, Shane Lambert, Philip Hillard, Oliver Kwaka, Morgan Keene, John Owens, Miguel Crespo, Bahadin Ayan, Jay Lawrence, Cesar Tabar, and Daniel Gallis at 24th with James Malo at the end of our 25-car grid. So, but yeah, big story. Samborski not in the lead, though most of the drivers say if you're got pole at Spa, just means he could go fast around here. Usually you're not going to be leading coming out of Lacombe. Because that draft is so powerful.
It is. It is so powerful, Austin. And you can bet your bottom dollar that Samborski would tuck that right underneath the rear wing of DeChero, who, even if he's using DRS, of course, the drivers, as always, 8 available opportunities per race to utilise that. They use it whenever they see fit. Even if he's spoiling DRS, it's not going to make a blind bit of difference, because Samborski will be coming through like a freight train and trying to get to the inside.
Well, it's time to ready to rock and roll here at Spa as the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship is green, and it's a great start by the second row. The Downforce Racing car of Josh Stewart down to the inside, heading into the source, almost getting a nose already in there on Miguel Carlos DeChero, as everybody is funneling through the source right there, 3-4 wide. Everybody is giving each other a lot of room as Samborski goes down to the inside of his teammate, takes second plays from Josh Stewart right now as they run up through Elbers, riding on a few cars, getting a little bit set up wide and going really wide off the ace, but everybody being very nicely out there. Samborski looking onto the outside of DeChero. Samborski has a half a car length ahead of DeChero. Side by side they go into Lacombe. Samborski round the outside. Taking the lead is Eddie Samborski. Stewart got held up right there, almost making contact off the ace into Lacombe of that section as DeChero, and around goes Furkheim. Furkheim comes back into the track, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars involved. Cars flying upside down and in the air and inside out again. Chaos heading into turn 6.
Wow, Austin, I mean, you called it spot on. Samborski using the power play, being in the draft, getting the move done on the exit of Malmedy to take the lead, and then that big insert. Archer, Tabars, Mallow involved. Wow. This isn't done and dusted. This is going to be like this all race long if they remain in the slipstream.
Yeah, Ludwig Thrancon getting a big run through Village right there. Late dive down to the inside, trying to upset Rob Bohr right there. He's all over that gearbox as they race down into Blanchemont. And you can see Rancon is just all over that gearbox, is right in, and ooh, there's a little bit of a bump right there, I believe, as Bohr, his best idea will be to defend on the inside. He just hesitated. There goes Ludwig Rancon down to the inside. A little bit of a lockup mid-quarter. Bohr can really capitalize off this with a nice switchback move. But Rancon goes up into 4th place, but Rob Bohr's right on his tail. He can make him answer right there. Bohr looking down to the inside, heading into the source. You got to be careful off that exit. If you take it tight, there's a bump on the exit, but Bohr back into fourth. But now, advantage goes back to Jason C because Radcon is running a higher downforce lane.
He is indeed, and he's going to get the slipstream of Bohr ahead of him, so he will hold on as they all come out onto the Kemmel straight, fanning three wide here. Oh, hold tight, everyone. This could end in disaster.
Oh, Jason seeing his way through the middle and around the outside. Rob Bohr is not going to be able to have that right there. Yes, he does, though, because that higher downforce swing and Rob Bohr able to hold it around the outside. Sig trying to hold it down to the inside right there. And there is Radcon around the outside. The medium downforce drivers versus the high downforce drivers. Well, this is the high downforce drivers domain right there. The two high downforce drivers of Bohr and Radcon versus the medium pack of C, Cornu, and Honko. And there's a big difference on driving styles here and setup choices.
So just to bring you up to date with so see nearly an overtake there. Marcus Alger on the attack of Holko. Just bring you up to date with that big incident we had on the opening lap for Furkheim, Archer, Lambert, Hillard, Owens and Mallow all into the pits and looking like they retired. 6 cars out already before they even had got halfway through lap 1.
Yeah, that massive crash taking out those 6 cars. It was not in the spot that you usually expect it to, but it is a very common place to see incidents like that.
It is. It all it takes is one driver to just get a bit loose and maybe touch the grass or a bit too quick onto the accelerator, and they're sent spinning and straight into the wall, normally on the right-hand side, which is what happened. And that's when the chaos ensues, when they cannon back across the track, and then it's just a lottery. You know, you pay your money, you take your chances, and if you get taken out, then so be it. If not, then go place a ticket on the lottery, because you've count your lucky stars on making it through. But this looks like Teixeira, after starting on pole, is going to lose another place. Josh Stewart on the attack.
Yeah, Stewart trying to hold around the outside. Makes that work just absolutely stinking fine as Jason C. Oh, those 2 cars in front of him just being kind of like a blockade. The iron curtain of these two, unable to get past of the 2 high downforce drivers down that straightaway. They're so quick at the other parts of this track. You're going to have to really get a good run if you're Jason C. But you can see the amount of cars kind of stuck behind this train, kind of like Lewis Hamilton was stuck behind that AlphaTauri.
I think these drivers have got probably a bit more of a chance of getting past. As you said, a bit of a conundrum. So we watch a replay here. This is what happened. This big issue at the start. There it's Furkheim. You're going to see him just, there you go, up onto the curves, AstroTurf, and I mean, even if he's holding his brakes there, he is making 0 difference. He's lost control of his car.
It's like the situation of somebody letting go of a bouncy ball and just throwing it. It just goes wherever that thing wants to.
Yeah, he was, cannoning back across the track, at a rapid rate, not spinning furiously. And that's where we get to find out if any of the drivers have had any experience in downhill slalom skiing, because that's the only way you're getting through that with cat-like reflexes and blind faith and luck as well, for good measure.
You know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of that famous song, Blur Song 2.
There you go.
And now
I'm trying to fit in some of the lyrics to make that work a bit better, but yeah, it does. It was.
I feel like the driver making their way through there just went, woohoo. I was going to try to sing it. Don't worry.
Yes, yes. I'm with you now. I see that.
Oh, look at Sting looking out to the inside of Rob Bohr right there. I let come. But Bohr holding around the outside. There's contact right there between the two. Jason would not like that. I would say Bohr kind of squeezed Jason right there. And I don't see damage on Jason C, but that probably would have shaken him.
Well, this is the issue that you have, Austin, when you've got the high downforce versus low downforce, and we saw it being played out there where he's got massive speed down the straight. However, car's very dicey and sketchy, and the high downforce setup, you're then able to really push, through corners and reclaim the move back, like we saw being played out there from Bohr. And then it's all about for them, how quick you are during this part of the circuit, and ensuring you keep in front of the driver with the low downforce setup and build up enough of the gap just to keep yourself safe. Because you can't really overtake through the, I call it midfield, so it gets incredibly challenging once you're out of Brosales through No Name and then pretty much all the way down to Stavilo. That's where the high downforce setup really comes into its own, as we're on board with Oliver Quoker right now. I'm sure he's probably streaming on his Twitch channel. You see his direct drive as always, hence why we enjoy his livery. He claims it's not a VRS setup, but that is definitely. And find more about that by searching for VRS and direct drive systems.
But there are other direct drive systems out there. Not that I'm personally partnering with them, but I will not. I will not do that. I will not promote that in any way due to conflict of interest.
Talking of conflicts of interest, these two have got a conflict of interest over 5th place right now. They both want it. Sorry, 6th place, isn't it? Sorry, I've balls ahead there as Cornu and Algron. Cornu coming out on top. The Frenchman. Mediterranean rivalry going on there, France versus Iberia.
The beauty of the line right there as they head into Q1. Everybody's kind of separated. That the two high downforce drivers of Bohr and Radcon still leading out this group right here. Dennis Cornu, the new leader of the train, as Rob Bohr is kind of escaping his grasp. And this is where I always like to bring up why some drivers prefer the high downforce. It keeps their tires within a nice range. Because these low downforce cars, they're going to be abusing those tires a lot more and risk them to sliding the cars through the corner and overheating the tires.
It is a big issue, and
ooh, that's deep by Cornu. And here comes the switchback, Alcron, with the switchback move coming out of the final corner and getting the lead right here, side by side. And Cornu drops down to 7th place. Alcron up into 6th, and almost contact right there heading into the source.
But the interesting point is Bohr has dropped all these drivers who have low downforce setup. Alcron, Cornu, Sieg, Quoker, all running slim wings here. They'll be drafting one another and battling it out, but I tell you what, Bohr, the Benelux driver, he's looking safe right now, Austin. And pulling away, that's when these lot fighting can definitely play into his hands mathematically. If he can take his hands off the steering wheel and rub them with glee, he would be doing so right now. You see Quoker on a bit of a lunge there into Brosales and had to back out of it, and nearly, I don't know if you caught it there, Austin, just nearly had Holko right into the back then.
Yeah, Holko had a big look right there, and some drivers just taking a little bit later than others. Jason Sieg is having a good look through Puon. He's been seeing a few incidents up ahead of him after that little run-in he had with Radcon, and you're starting to wonder to yourself, does he have a little bit of damage on that car?
You have to wonder. I mean, at the moment, these 5 drivers, even 6 we've got, I think that's Ian just closing up onto the back. Yeah. They're all cancelling each other out right now, and what they need to really do is to work together, because Bohr is having an absolute field day and he's extending the gap. But on this lap alone, Aussie, he's put out another 3 or 4 attempts over these guys.
Teammates on each other, deep Up onto the brakes. Oh, wow. Oliver Quokka round the outside, going deeper than the Marianas Trench right there onto the brakes. Woohoo! That's a highlight reel moment right there.
That was a spectacular move. I mean, there's...
Yeah, he definitely has some damage on that car. He's not been able to have that pace that he was having earlier. I would say 4 damage at minimum.
I've been looking at his car, Austin, over the last couple of laps and just trying to see if it's got any of the telltale signs, you know, scratches on the side pods, on the front nose, and I can't see anything obvious, but with his pace just, you know, dropping away.
Something has happened.
Like, something's not right, is it? It's not unhappy
it also just
for the
might
Renault
be a
3.5.
suspension. It might just be a little suspension tweak right there. But, he did... Oh, wait, I see it.
Oh, you're more eagle-eyed than me then. I've failed in that one.
Let me... No, I thought I could see it before. I thought I saw a little bit of a bump before. I know you can see it really easily in the Formula 3. 3.5 is a bit different story. The one thing about the downforce paints, can't really tell the difference. You gotta fight for 3rd place. Rancho and DeChero being caught right there. As Carlos DeChero in that medium downforce being caught by Rancon. Sorry to Levick. It's not Rancho, it's Rancon. I am not thinking about shifting dip right
I tell you what, Stuart's not exactly dropping these guys. This, well, it's been going on, Austin. I mean, I can't believe we're on lap 8 out of 18 already.
Like?
Samborski, 2 minutes 1 dead lap time. Spectacular from him. And he's just heading off into the distance, doing Samborski things, gets out in front and heads off into the distance. 3.8 seconds clear of Stewart. He's no slouch, no mugging himself, his teammate. Wow, that's a big old advantage to have at this nearly halfway stage here in Belgium, but there's more action down the field.
Yeah, down the field right now, back to Rob Bohr and Alecron. Bohr was caught right there. Marcos Alecron jumps up into 5th place. Rob Bohr struggling in that car right now. And now getting caught by the medium downforce drivers. But this is where Bohr goes on the attack. I think he might have had a issue heading to Lacombe.
I think so. It's a logical explanation now. What can Alecron do now? Needs to just keep...
Pray and push.
Oh,
Push and pray.
well.
Just drive her own line. Try to force Rob to make a mistake because he's going to be faster in this section. If you try to defend, he's just going to drive right past you. Because that downforce around the outside is always a possibility. And you just got to survive to the next straight. As Dennis Cornu in the background went off.
He's had issues, but I'll tell you what. Duresho started on pole, but he's giving up this 2nd place. So yeah, he's keeping hold of this 3rd place. He's not wanting to let go of it whatsoever. So that Stuart's still not pulling away from the cars behind him. Despite some mind games being played out between Duresho and Rancon. However, Alcaron still holding on to that 5th place for now, Austin, and that's looking a bit more cemented because they get out onto this. Well, if you want to call it a back straight, you know, it starts from the source all the way through Rouge, Radion, Kemmel Straight.
It's the straight.
Yeah, it's going to keep hold of that position, and I think we're going to see Alcaron really extend that gap out.
We're side by side. Quokka looking down the inside of Cornu, but Cornu round the outside of Oliver right there. Frenchman beating out the late braking over Quokka. Probably used off his late braking in that one move.
I think so. Walker definitely on the attack right now. Possibly almost. It seems like he feels like he's being held up a bit by Cornu. Frenchman is there. Oh, the spin in the background, Austin.
Hoko in Puwan. Thankfully, the runoff is massive right there, but that big spin for Ben Hoko is going to be really hurting his tires.
Just to compound the issue as well, Austin, he's dropped right back off the back of that group now. What that means is he doesn't have anyone to slipstream with, which is what was pulling that group away from the group behind them. He's now cut into a world of his own. The cars behind, which is Keen and Aiken, they're going to be working together, and he'll get enveloped into that group. Just still holding on to that 7th place. Worker just running a little bit deep. Sieg looking on more aggressive, but not getting the best of exits off the corner. The gap extending out and once more. And here comes the German. Walker across the top of Radion. Locked in, locked on the race. Down to Lacombe. Everyone hugging that inside, Austin.
Well, down the inside is always an opportunity, but Oliver unable to make that move work. Dennis is just covering off that inside. The clock pulled off. He knew that he was going to be making that move, and it's kind of a stalemate with these cars, that lower drag, because they'll be bouncing off that limiter, the rev limiter at the very top, and just have nowhere to go for it.
Also, it did seem a little bit like Quokka just backed out of it a little bit there.
He did.
And decided to see it. Take the racing line, knew that probably Cornu would come back across onto it. See more fastest laps from Samborski, the first driver to break into the 2-minute dead lap time. Closest,
beauty of a lap time.
Wow, it is. Next closest lap time is Cornu, interestingly, with a 2:01.58. So Samborski currently lapping 6/10 quicker than the next fastest car on the track. Josh Stewart behind him. Wow, you know, some 8 tenths
actually, that would be
quicker last time around.
Livik Rancon 2:01.3.
Oh yes, apologies, yes.
But that was a few laps ago, because Rancon's last lap was 2:05.7. So Rancon had a very trash of a lap. The previous lap wasn't that much better. It's a 2:02 that time by.
It's starting to fall off a bit, and as you mentioned earlier, Austin, you know, with the low downforce drivers, the high temperatures start to play a bit of a point. Now we're starting to reach into that window, so where we could see the high downforce drivers start to come into play a bit more. And Samborski get in front. He's got that massive cushion, so he can afford just to be a bit safer. There's
same thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a carbon copy there, and it's like Quokka's just sizing him up, just understanding what he does under different, slightly different situations.
You think Quokka's just going to say, "I give up," pull onto the outside, then as soon as he sees the other car, send it up the inside?
I think that's what he's weighing him up for, just to lull Cornu into that bit of a false sense of security, and then just surprise him with the attack.
Always a possibility.
Rob Ball really needs to stay on the back of these guys, because he's obviously in the high downforce setup, and if he falls behind them through these fast parts of the circuit, he will drop behind. The high downforce. He's managing to close the gap in the slipstream. Francorchamps. This could be a move on to the brakes here, Austin. It's going to be brave around the outside, but it can actually pay dividends. Because then you're on the inside for that second pass of the bus stop, and you keep it alongside, but no. Bohr backs out. Remains in 6th.
Yeah, 6th place still right there. Bohr and Rancon now, 2 high downforce drivers. Well, they were the head of the train now, but now they're kind of stuck in the middle of it. But they have broken a gap to a Cornu behind them.
Now, keep an eye on that gap, Austin, because Cornu is running the low downforce setup. So, especially in this part of the track, he will really, you know, reap the benefits of that.
Oh, if they stay side by side right here, he's going to reap the benefits even more. They do, heading into Lacombe. Side by side they go. Bohr around the outside of Rancon. That's going to be really closing them up. And here comes Cornu. Cornu right on the back of Rancon. 2/10 now separates these two.
Wow. But also, Cornu is closing. That gap is starting to... Oh!
And there goes the gap.
Well, you try and, a bit of the curse of the commentator there. You give someone praise and it's the way. Curb on the inside, Austin. That's what hurt him.
All of those curbs. It's always the curbs.
Oh, I had a pun, but no, it's too late. And I've had my 1 pun allowance for this race.
But now that you've announced that you have the pun, I kind of want to hear it.
I was just about to say he needs to maybe curb his enthusiasm.
Oh, if we didn't live
Lap
in the world
13,
of
Samborski leads from Stewart from
Content ID. I would have queued that up faster than you could say Sesame Street. Oh my gosh. Welcome to Apex Racing TV.
Oh dear. It's like you see the difference in these setups being played out as we look back from Alcon right now.
DRS wide open right there, keeping a gap on board.
And you can see how the gap ebbs and flows at different parts of the circuit. Really because of all, visual. Look what Dresho, and he's obviously pulled away from these guys. He's family about this battle between Albron and well, but Ranchon, he's not far behind, is he? He's still within striking distance. If he can maintain this gap, he's just on the cusp of being in slipstream range, which is exactly what he needs. Coming into this next section, out of Stavolo, all the way through Blanchimont to the bus stop chicane. I'll tell you what, he is well within striking distance now, Austin. He's taken another 3 or 4 attempts out of these two, who are starting to trip up over one another. It's the high downforce through that section really playing dividends for him. And everyone using Marcos Agron to punch a hole in the air for him. And let's not forget, he's up 9 places already so far. He's had an absolutely stunning race. Let's guess what, Boston? Have any fastest lap from Eddie Samborski.
Yeah, why am I not surprised?
No, I think that's about as certain as death taxes and the swimming pool on the Titanic still being full of water.
That's a new. Until James Cameron gets a hold of it.
Well, that's very true.
He'll probably still have
Also, I'm not even
100%
100% if the Titanic had a swimming pool.
It does now.
Well, yeah. Very large one. Very large one indeed.
You can fit an ocean in that thing.
Alcon's managed to pull out a bit of a gap. It's definitely extended out. However, we've got a really good run out of the source. Just watch our leader Sam Borski right now. I mean, flawless yet again. 8 seconds clear of second. As I said earlier, Josh Stewart is no slouch, the man from down under. I mean, you don't get to a 4.6k I rating for being slow. I mean, that's, well, yeah, that's true. You and maybe people who drive it for memes and one other person might drive it. But yeah, I mean, pulled away. The gap between Stewart and Duresho, that has stabilised pretty much. Around about 8.4 seconds. Well, actually, no, you give it to Josh Stewart. He has pulled away, actually. Apologies about that one.
Oh, Rancon aboard right down here, side by side through Blanchimont. Rancon having to hold it around the outside. Where's Rob gone? Rob, oh, Rancon, you see, he was deciding. I was like, where is Rob? I don't know where he is. He's blinked out of existence in the braking zone. And honestly, that's probably the worst spot you want to blink out of heading into the brakes, because he could appear right on your nose, or he could appear right as you're inside of him heading into the brakes. And I've seen that happen, and it's not a pretty sight, because both the drivers get startled.
I had it in the race earlier, Austin, and as a driver, it's frightening, especially when you're in a LMP1 and the car blinking out in front of you that disappears is a GT car. Closing difference between those two is massive, and it's bad enough in the single make series light form, the Renault 3.5. But at least the trust that these drivers have in one another, it just shows through there. So doing the right thing as well, Ranchon, just backing out of it. But I tell you what, these guys are all starting to bunch up once again. I feel we're in for a bit of a flurry of activity. We're really not far from the end, are we? 15 out of 18. It's still all to play for, and I think this is going to go right down to the line on the last lap.
It certainly can. It really can. In this fight, Alucron in the fight for fourth, Rob Bohr right there as well. That fight could definitely, it's not set in stone for anybody here. Maybe for Eddie Samborski, but I'm not a fan of counting my chickens before they hatch.
I mean, this is the power of the low downforce set being shown here. If you can get in front, then you can pretty much keep hold of the position, because yes, the cars behind you on the high downforce setup are much quicker in the corners, but generally a lot of the corners around here, Spa, are single line corners, so incredibly difficult to pass on. And that then full well, once you're out onto the straights, short run from the bus stop to La Source, you sort of keep safe, but from this moment onwards all the way to Lacombe, you can just chill out. You know that they're not really going to mount an attack on you, and you're sitting relatively safe. It's all about keeping it safe and consistent and clean in the midfield section of the track. Because there you go, you see it once again. Alcaron is walking away from Bohr. Just on this straight alone, Austin, the Kemmel straight, he's pulled out around about 3 tenths on him. And Bohr is in the draft.
Rob Bohr is right there with him, but Alucard, that medium downforce, he just gets that advantage right back. But Bohr, he's just got to keep it smooth and attack these corners right here to get that advantage right there. What he needs to do is to get ahead of Marcos and just try to disrupt him right there.
Let's see, it's just the way he's able to close that gap out there through Pouon and then down into Fangis. So we're going to run down to Campus next, and then it's Stavolo. He just walks up to the back of him. It's so effortless. But here we go. As we exit Stavolo, you know full well now it's all to avail because there goes Alcaron just walking away from Boar. Once again, a true game of cat and mouse being played out between the two different sets.
Boar's got to watch out behind him, though, because here comes Rancon right there. Game of cat and mouse, but honestly, the mice are at each other because when the cat's away, the mice will definitely play. Boar goes deep, and the back end swirling around right there. Here goes Rancon trying to go for the switchback move. Not going to work out for them, and now they're both going to look down to the inside. Rancon looking on the outside, and Boar and Rancon still 5th and 6th of each other, as that gap is about a second separating these two from Alacron in 4th.
I mean, it's a shame for Quokka because I think he could have caused up the gap to these two if he had a couple of more laps, but I think he's going to run out of time, and I mean, he has got Teague for company, giving him a bit of a headache, well, more than a headache. Jason Sieg just strolling on by there down the Kemmel Straight, picking himself up into 2nd.
As Crespo on the back of Cornu. Can he have this opportunity right here? As, well, both these drivers have been uphill battle for both of them, but Miguel Crespo and then up 8 spots. Dennis Cornu down 2 spots, so Crespo's been having a good day so far. Unlike Dennis, who was, I believe, around that opening lap incident.
Yes, Dennis was. He was. Likewise, Crespo as well. He was caught up in the midfield a bit, and this race nearly came to an end. He was able to, pick it through the carnage and got a bit of luck. Wise up into 12th, up 8 places. Oh, Badin Ayan. He's up at an incredible 12 to 9th. That is just, wow, what a race he's having. Is this finally going to be the move?
Whoa.
They're going to drag it out down to La Source.
They certainly are. It's a drag race. White flag is in the air here in this fight for 4th place. 5th place, Boar sends it down to the inside of La Source. They're actually being caught by Jason Sieg and Rancon. Sieg and Oliver Quokka as Boar leads out Rancon right now. Last time by, they go down the straight. Here comes Jason Sieg looking around the outside. 3 wide they go. Sieg makes it past Rancon. Sieg makes it past Boar. It's not too close. No cigar. He's got the cigar this time. Jason Sieg up in the 5th.
Wow.
But can he hold on to it?
Well, I tell you what, they're all fighting behind him. This is playing right into his hands as Boar and Rancon go right at it once again. Look, Quokka, he's now right into the mix, Austin. This, I said about to go right down to the line. It is. They're still side by side through No Name and almost banging wheels.
Oh, this is about to turn into a Euro NASCAR race if these two drivers are not careful right now. Side by side through multiple corners as they fight through Puwan. Heading into the village right now. These two are on each other's heels. They're on each other's elbows, and I'm pretty sure they're about to be on each other's shirts if this continues on right now. But one driver who's the only stain he's going to have on his shirt is a sweet stain of champagne. As Eddie Samborski, he's got 1 corner to go and drives it home with the win here at Spa.
Faultless from Samborski once again, but this isn't done and dusted, Austin. This is going to go right to the line between Boar and Rancon.
Watch Quokka. Quokka might surprise both of them right here. Rancon defending on the inside, Boar around the outside. Switchback opportunity opens up for Boar. Rancon's right there with the block. Ludwig Rancon takes 6th place. Boar in 7th. Quokka in 8th. Jason Sieg with the last lap double overtake in 5th. And Josh Stewart, 3rd ever broadcast podium and 2nd in a row.
Again,
Well,
this is going to be a regular thing, this, isn't it?
first streak for Josh Stewart on the podiums. That's the word. So it's Downforce Racing 1-2.
It's definitely hitting a rich vein of form at the moment, isn't he? And it's it's really nice to see. Watch him improve and move himself up through the standings. Generally, he's had some really strong qualifyings of late, which has cemented great starts as well. And generally, wherever you start is where you tend to end up racing. And now Stuart's started to start more and more towards the top of the pile. That's where he's racing, and that's where he's able to get these 2 podiums in a row. As you said, not enough a streak here, and I'm sure Stuart is desperate for that to continue.
Yeah, here are your race results. Eddie Samborski. It's a Downforce Racing 1-2. Samborski with the win. Josh Stewart in second place. Carlos Achero completes that podium in third place. They're followed by Marco Salicron, Jason Sieg, Ludwig Rencon, Rob Bohr, Oliver Kwaka, Bahaden, Ian, Ben Holko, Dennis Cornu, Miguel Crespo, Morgan King, Yaya, Enes Antkin, Mohamed Taski, Daniel Gallas, Cesar Tabar, James Loris, Dylan Freckleton, Dennis Furkheim, Philip Hillard, Shane Lambert, James Malo, John Owens, and Luis Archer completes your grid. And Tim, I'm going to leave you with the podiums as I have to go attend to a family matter.
No worries. Let's have a bit of a chat with our race winner here today, Eddie Samborski. Eddie, another clinical performance from yourself. Got out in front and just headed off into the distance.
Absolutely, that was the plan. I didn't race the PM18 all week. I was expecting everyone and their cousin and their brother and uncle to be here, and there wasn't as many people as I thought, so I spent all week practicing. Yeah, that was a good drive. There's a few almost incidents. I almost missed turn 1 a couple times, and I had a moment breaking into the chicane, but other than that, it was very good.
Because you were so far off in the difference, we didn't catch them at all. So you'll be safe on that one. Obviously, with the lower down source, we were talking about it during the race. That you have to be careful not to push too hard in the corners because the heat generating, overheating your tires. Obviously, with that larger gap that you had, were you just able to freely manage them at your will?
Absolutely, it's very convenient to realize like, hey, there's plenty of time. I can afford to lose a tenth or two in the upcoming corner. Where, and if you're engaged in a battle for P1 and the guy's 3/10 behind you, that's a pass. So, it's you always want to go as fast as you can. Clearly, that's the goal. But at the same time, are you going faster if you give up half a second with a lockup? So, with experience and wisdom and age, you start realizing these things. So. It was nice. The pass that the teammate Joshua put on Carlos really enabled the gap. I don't know what happened. Carlos had a couple of bad corners. I was checking the mirrors and he was big, then he was small. So I just put my head down. I was like, all right, here's your chance, man. You got to put in some good ones.
Definitely. Now, next time out we head to Australia, Mount Panorama, Bathurst, if you want to call it, very different beasts to Spa. Now, you've got those 2 long straights, but across the mountain, you're dicing with death, and one tiny mistake has big ramifications. It's a bit of a Marmite circuit, as we call it in the UK. You either love it or you hate it. Which side of the camp do you sit on?
I absolutely love driving it in this car. It is a fantastic challenge. It's a proper great time. The biggest issue is when that yellow flag pops up on your screen because there's nowhere to go and you're not stopping. Last time we raced here, I started mid-pack and I only made it to going down the mountain and that was it. Game over. I saw the wreck and I got on the brakes, but the car was just like, I don't think so. And that was it, So I need to get pole. So it'll be big time qualifying effort for Bathurst. But it's a great track. It really is. And I know it's not typical to see open wheelers on it. And once you learn the line that the 3.5 likes, you can actually lap pretty regularly without incident, to be honest with you.
I know the Formula 3, that's been there a few times in the last couple of seasons. So, yeah, it definitely makes for great, entertaining racing for us in the commentary booth. That can be a bit hair-raising for yourselves as drivers. Before we let you go, Eddie, anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
Absolutely. I'd like to thank anyone who's donated the broadcast. We're doing the fundraising thing again. Thank everyone who voted on the schedule. That's been submitted. We have, I mean, for my own personal preference, a really outstanding schedule for season 3. And thank the drivers. Thank you guys for broadcasting. And, we'll see you next week, hopefully.
Ah, will do indeed. That's Eddie Samborski, your winner here today at Spa. Let's have that. Well, we're on the mention of Bathurst. Let's have a bit of a chat to a man who's been looking to have a good result next time out next week at his home race with his second podium in a row here on Apex Racing TV. Josh Stewart, welcome to the commentary booth.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, well, it was interesting first lap. I wanted to stay out of trouble after what happened yesterday. I had a bit of a prang into Ed, so yeah, a bit nervous on that first
Yeah,
lap.
Austin said he'd seen your stream and the chaos and melee of action that had happened from it. I mean, you did well, obviously, to be where you were. I don't know if you caught any of it in your mirrors. There was a big incident on the opening lap out of Malmedy, where if you qualified a few places down, I think you would have done well to escape through and would have had a sense of deja vu.
Oh, absolutely. Here, it's chaos on the first lap here all the time. I was looking forward, thankfully, and I wasn't caught up in the melee. But yeah, it's always like that here, and I guess part of the reason is that you qualify in high downforce trim just because you get unlimited DRS, so it sort of negates the drag, and then you have to switch over to medium downforce, and it's very difficult in this car to get a feel from going from high downforce to medium downforce so quickly. So yeah, it's usually throws up those kind of things in the race.
Obviously, we saw you locked in a bit of a battle early on with Carlos Duresho, and I mean, obviously, you were able to clear him quite quickly. Was it a bit of a relief, or did you know that you pretty much had the pace in your pocket against him?
Yeah, it was pretty close. I think I had a little bit, maybe half a tenth to a tenth a lap. So I was just focusing on being smooth for those first few laps after I got past. I noticed it was a bit slow out of sort of Stavolo area, and I made sure to pull a little bit of a gap there. And once I cleared that sort of 1 second area, I think Carlos might have made a small mistake there. I just again focused on being clean, and then just slowly getting away. And I think Carlos ended up making another mistake, and that's when I sort of backed off a little bit. And I didn't need to push as hard. I wasn't going to catch Ed. His pace was pretty ridiculous today. So yeah, just wanted to bank the P2.
Completely understandable. Of course, next time out, we head to your local, probably, maybe not your local tracks, depending on what part of Australia you're from, in terms of iRacing. That Panorama, how are you feeling about it? Can we see another podium? Can we see this rich vein of form that Josh Stewart is currently in?
Yeah, I mean, Austin mentioned it last week, and I thought the commentator's curse was coming to bite me, and it did yesterday, but I managed to pick up the pieces for today. So I hopefully, yeah, Tim, you've maybe not curse me for next week, but I love we haven't been at Bathurst for a long time, and I love the track, but equally like here, it can be chaotic for the first few laps. So, but I'm looking forward to it. Great track.
Most certainly, and we'll see forward to seeing how you get on that. Before we let you go, Josh, anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
Yeah, I want to say thanks to Midge, Jason, Simon, DFR team. That we did some after yesterday's big calamity. We had some practice and practiced the toe down to turn 1 a little bit just to make sure it didn't happen again. And so thanks to those guys. Also, just a quick one. Like you mentioned earlier on, I do stream on 10:45 GMT Fridays. So that's 9:45 a.m. Saturday Australian time. But jump in there, just search Joshy Stewart in YouTube and jump in there and have a chat. And yeah, thanks guys.
Are you? Okay, no worries.
Yes.
We'll make sure we check that one out. Joshy Stewart.
Yep. Thanks very much, guys.
Lovely.
Take care.
Lovely. Take care. See you in a week's time. Wow. What's been another absolute barnstormer of a round here in Formula Renault 3.5. We knew it would be a bit of a drag fest, but even so, we will deliver some plenty of action and drama. Austin's had to disappear off this, so make a quick airport run from what he was saying. But, wow, as always, myself and Austin, we've had absolutely cracking fun. We've had John Robertson in the production booth. I've been Tim Cox, and we'll see you in a week's time when iRacing Formula Renault 3.5 Championship returns at Bathurst.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.